Our top stories at this hour: U.S. President Donald Trump defends Attorney General Jeff Sessions as an honest man after Democrats call for him to quit. Plus, fleeing for their lives, thousands leave western Mosul as the so-called Islamic State battles back against Iraqi government forces. And no safe passage in Yemen. United Nations chief refused access to the besieged city of Taiz. Also on the program, Dancing with the Stars. The cast of the 24th season are revealed. We begin today in the United States, where after a day of growing political pressure, the U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has agreed to recuse himself from any investigations into alleged Russian interference in the American elections. Mr. Sessions has denied having any significant discussion regarding the presidential campaign with the Russian ambassador after it emerged they'd met twice last year. Mr. Sessions claims the story is hyped beyond reason and unfair, but says he'll step away from the investigations.
Like that, Tucker, but I don't recall any discussion of the campaign in any significant way. It was in no way some sort of coordinating of an effort or doing anything improper, and I don't believe anybody that was in that meeting would have seen or believed I said one thing that was improper or unwise. And it was really a sad thing to be attacked like that, but I think we've explained it, and we intend to move forward.
Hundreds of civilians are continuing to flee the Iraqi city of Mosul as fighters from so-called Islamic State launch fierce counter-offensives against advancing government forces. The United Nations says 28,400 people have been forced from their homes since the operation began to retake the western part of the city almost 2 weeks ago.
It is a disaster. A real disaster. In each street there were car bombs, 4, 5 car bombs. They don't show mercy to anyone, no mercy at all. We spent the past weeks with 25 people in one room.
Meanwhile, the Syrian government, backed by Russian airstrikes, has recaptured the ancient city of Palmyra for the second time. A video released by the government-controlled military media shows the destruction in the city caused by the occupying jihadists. The first time IS controlled the area, they destroyed some of its most celebrated monuments. The terror group was driven out in March last year, but managed to retake the city, its world-famous ruins, and the surrounding area in December. Well, let's go to Yemen, where a United Nations humanitarian chief has been denied access to the besieged city of Taiz. Stephen O'Brien was told he would have safe passage, but was stopped at the last checkpoint before crossing the front line. He says tens of thousands of people have been displaced, and up to 7 million people in Yemen do not know where their next meal will be coming from. The conflict in the country intensified in 2015 when a Saudi-led coalition started a blistering air campaign seeking to dislodge Houthi rebels who are in control of the capital, Sana'a. Now, several people have been injured in South Africa after a roof collapsed on one of the country's biggest hospitals. Rescue workers in Johannesburg are using heavy lifting equipment and sniffer dogs in the search for people believed to still be trapped under rubble. The roof caved in at the reception area of the Charlotte Maxeke State Hospital as construction work was underway to seal a leak. South Korea has deployed its Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, but says it'll only target North Korea. Officials say it is a necessary measure to protect citizens' lives from the North's nuclear and missile threats. China has been very critical about the launch of the controversial US-built defense missile system.
The deployment of Terminal High Altitude Area Defense is a defense measure that is necessary in order to protect the nation and its people from North Korea's nuclear and missile threats. I want to emphasize that it is not targeting any other countries.
We're heading for a short break now, but there's plenty more still ahead, including a review of the day's newspapers.
Our customers are focused, versatile, superheroes. Our customers are also the most important people in our world. So we listen, partner, and give solutions that make a difference in their world. At First Bank, we will always put you first.
You first. First Bank.
The best way to predict the future is to create it. There's a special breed of achievers out there that are called tomorrow's people, the highly creative ones who live in the future. They imagine what will be and strive to make it happen. They are bold. They refuse to wait for the future. Tomorrow bends and conforms to their ideas. At Access Bank, we share the same sentiments. We've been able to grow our bank to become a leading player in Nigeria with a strong presence across the continent, adopting best practice in everything we do. Our mantra for success is simple: speed, service, and security. Those who shape tomorrow, strive for, and demand perfection. At Access Bank, our service culture of speedy response and drive for excellence is the blueprint for creating customer experiences that will echo for generations. Come, let's work together and take tomorrow.
This is Arise News from Abuja, Nigeria, and you're watching Thisday Live with me, Charles Anier-Golden. Now let's take a look at the stories making the headlines. Some of the world's leading national newspapers this Friday morning with our news analyst, John Fashanu.
Good morning,
Good to
Charles.
see you, mate.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
Fresh news.
Right. This day, the Senate President Bukola Saraki
Yes.
allegedly describing the raid on the homes of judges accused of corruption as illegal.
Yes.
But then, did he actually say it?
Well, Charles, we've done our research, as we always do, and no, he didn't say that. The statement, and I will quote, the statement was made by the Senate Committee Chairman on Anti-Corruption. He's a member of the PDP and obviously belongs to the opposition.
Right.
And he actually was speaking at an event where he was actually representing the Senate President. So it wasn't Bukola.
So those
Saraki
weren't the Senate President's
No,
words, because
at
the
all.
reason it's obviously controversial
Yes.
is because whoever made that statement purporting to be speaking on behalf of the Senate President was accusing the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption of supporting the use of extrajudicial means to fight corruption.
Correct.
So essentially,
Yes, we're
this was a member
clarifying
of the
that.
opposition
This was a member of
who
the
seized
opposition.
the opportunity to criticize
his own
Right,
personal view, and he was the chairman of the Anti-Corruption Board.
Right.
So a little bit of confusion there.
Because we
but
were rather surprised, weren't we, when we were chatting about
well,
this, saying, well,
yes.
it doesn't sound like what
It
the
didn't
Senate
sound like that,
President
and I
would
think
say, would
just a little bit of a mistake there.
Right, okay. Well, let's move rapidly forward.
Yes.
The UK Journal,
UK.
big backlog
Wow.
of demand for electric cars.
Oh yes, that the job boost as car parts firm plans major expansion. Now, this is a very small, well, it was a very small car company, Serbcom, who actually cater and they make parts. And they've now got some enormous contracts there, totaling £350 million. They've been in existence for 50 years. This is, Charles, for electric cars.
That's quite revolutionary, isn't
it?
I mean, that sort of gives us an idea of the fact that people are becoming more and more, or getting into it more. I mean, you and I were having a chat about
Yes,
this.
yes.
You go to places in California.
Yes,
I
they're
mean,
everywhere.
Everywhere.
There's more electric cars than there is using petrol and diesel there. This company has created 200 new jobs, which actually is not that big, but the future looks very, very bright.
Absolutely. And of course, what that tells us, John, is that countries like Nigeria have got to start worrying about
yes.
diversifying
Yes.
away
Yes.
from oil, because
Yes.
demand is going to drop
Yes.
the more you get electric cars.
Yes.
They're cleaner, they're more efficient,
Yes.
and they save a lot of money.
Yes.
Right. The third
Wonderful.
newspaper, The Daily Mirror, also in
Yes.
the UK, talks about a huge
Yes.
rally in London
Well,
against the government.
this is going to be very interesting. We're talking about rallies everywhere all over the world at the moment, but this in the UK, this is going to be a rally by the GMB, which is a trade union.
Right.
And this is looking at the NHS.
The National Health Service
Of
in
course,
the UK.
yes, which we know very, very well.
Right.
And they say that it is falling. It's coming down. Things are not working there. You know, but it sounds like there's some political
Well, there is always
side
a
of this.
backstory because that paper, the Daily Mirror, although it's
Yes.
a well-respected newspaper, but it is a left-leaning
Very
newspaper
much so.
and has always
Yes.
been in support of the
Yes.
opposition Labour
Yes.
Party. And as you
Yes.
very well know, the unions in
That's
the UK
right.
are also all part
All of
of
them.
the Labour
Yes,
Party.
exactly.
So to an extent, you're absolutely
Yes.
right. There is a
Yes.
political
So
element
do
to
we take
this.
that with a bit of tongue in the cheek when
Well,
they
I
say
mean,
the biggest rally ever?
Well, I mean,
seen?
it will be a big rally, but I think it's important to note that the NHS is
Yes.
going through very
Yes.
difficult times, but
Yes.
it's not necessarily because of the
Yes.
Conservative Party
Yes.
in power.
Yes.
I mean, everybody's to blame, both
Yes.
Labour and the
So we
Conservatives,
don't
for
blame
underfunding.
we don't blame the
the
Prime
NHS.
Minister. So
Absolutely.
we leave off her doing. Okay.
Right, but it is interesting, though, that they're going to hold this massive rally.
Yes, yes.
And
Yes.
it, coincidentally for them, a lot of people in the UK right now are complaining about
Yes.
the NHS and
Yes.
its inability to,
Yes.
if you like, fulfill
Yes.
its functions
Oh,
of taking
Charles,
care of
they're
people's
actually
health.
saying the report says that 4 out of 5 hospitals are not safe. That's horrible.
No, absolutely. But of course, in these kind of circumstances, as you pointed out, when you've got a political agenda,
Yes,
you
yes,
look for the
exactly,
very
yes.
worst. I mean, we've
Yes.
got to read behind
Yeah,
those
see,
headlines.
as
When
well,
you say
there's
4 out
always
of
something,
5,
yes.
what does that actually
Yes,
mean?
entail.
Because, I mean, the UK's NHS remains one of the most,
In the
best
world.
in the world, absolutely.
yes,
Right,
yes.
okay, well, let's move on.
Right.
You've got quite an extraordinary photograph there
Yes.
in this Thisday news.
I like this one. It's a weekend. I like this. This is the Vice President, our dear brother, who seems to be everywhere. Everybody's
Well, he is
brother.
the acting president now.
Yes, yes.
Big cheery grin
Yes.
there. And he's actually...
with the governor of Akwa Ibom State,
so that they're
Emmanuel.
in the Niger Delta.
They're in the Niger Delta. They are accepting the accolades, the praise, and the screams of the crowd. And they're there, of course, in their project there, where they're trying to reunite the oil communities.
Right.
And this means that this man has got so many hats. He's incredible, doing a great job.
Yeah, well, certainly he is. He's been commended for taking a very sort of, very sort of big step in the direction of trying to allay concerns
Yes,
of those
yes.
Niger Delta communities and to reassure them that the government is on their side and is prepared to work
Yes,
with them.
yes.
Rather than the sense that they had previously that this is a hostile government
yes.
that is simply, wanting to use force to essentially crush any
Yes.
opposition.
Yes. He gets my thumbs up. Very good.
Well, we like your thumbs up. And let's just mention very quickly that I think it's tomorrow or the day after, we're going to see you wearing a different hat.
Oh,
aren't we?
yes, Charles, yes, we are. I think all of our viewers are going to see the sportsman in John Fashanu.
Well, I
Keep
look forward
fit.
to it. I look forward to it.
Thank you,
John,
Charles.
thanks very much indeed. John Fashanu, our news analyst there. Now, people have been camping out. Okay, people have been camping out all night for the release of the newest Nintendo console, the Switch. The company has a lot riding on its new game console as the Japanese game makers hope to regain favor. But with a host of cautious reviews and an opaque roadmap from company officials, there is some unease among investors, with shares down from $32.10 to $26 since December. The release of the Switch will also see an end to the Wii U that sold just 13.56 million units worldwide. Officials in the United States have raided 3 Caterpillar sites in Illinois as part of a criminal investigation into tax irregularities. The heavy machinery manufacturer